Welcome to the Chronicles Reports. I am your host, Chronicles. Today, we are deep diving into a geopolitical earthquake that is currently shifting the very foundations of the Middle East. A story where ancient history meets modern statecraft in a high-stakes gamble for the future of a nation. For the past 7 days, the nation of Iran has endured a near-constant aerial bombardment. But the narrative is now taking a dramatic turn from the skies to the soil. We are investigating reports of a massive ground offensive, one that remarkably does not involve traditional American or Israeli boots on the ground, but rather a surging force of Kurdish paramilitaries crossing from Iraq into Iran. This is not merely a military maneuver. It is a profound collision of ancestral legacy and contemporary political strategy. Today, we explore the roots, the risks, and the stark reality behind what could be the total collapse of the Iranian regime. To understand the gravity of this moment, we must first analyze the historical and cultural roots of the Kurdish people. The Kurds represent a diaspora population of roughly 25 to 30 million. Individuals in the Middle East, essentially a nation without a state. They lay claim to a vast ancestral region they call Kurdistan, which spans the modern borders of Turkey, Iraq, Syria, and Iran. In the context of Iran, the Kurdish minority has lived under the authority of the Islamic Republic for nearly half a century in a region they linguistically and culturally identify as Rojalit. This linguistic distinction is crucial. Rojalit signifies more than just a geographic location. It represents a distinct identity that has been suppressed for decades. For many Kurdish fighters, this offensive is viewed as a once-in-a-generation opportunity to finally secure an autonomous homeland. What we are seeing is the culmination of years of suppressed autonomy finally finding a strategic opening amidst the chaos of contemporary history. Now, let's analyze the political calculus and the architects driving this movement. While the Kurdish fighters provide the physical manpower on the ground, the strategic and financial scaffolding of this operation is being constructed by the American CIA and the Israeli Mossad. Reports indicate that preparations for this specific offensive have been underway for months. We see the direct influence of key political figures in this argument. For instance, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has noted Israel's primary role in arming these forces. Furthermore, the Trump administration is reportedly acutely aware of the domestic political costs associated with deploying American troops. Consequently, they are opting for a partnered approach, providing essential air support and specialized guidance to Kurdish units rather than a direct invasion. The argument for this strategy is both simple and profound: regime change. While the U.S. and Israel have achieved tactical successes from the air, they historically lack a path to unseat leadership without a ground presence. By empowering the Kurds, they create a friendly ground force inside Iran, attempting to avoid the political fallout typically associated with a foreign invasion. How does this impact the daily lives of those in the region and the stability of the state? We must look at the tactical theory of overextension. The immediate goal is not necessarily a direct march on Tehran, which remains hundreds of kilometers away. Instead, it is to force a systemic collapse. If Kurdish forces estimated at a core of 2,500 fighters, but potentially backed by tens of thousands of Iraqi, Peshmerga can seize a foothold in the northwest. The Iranian military faces an impossible strategic choice. Concentrate forces. They could move to crush the Kurdish advance. But this would expose their heavy armor and troops to the devastating air superiority of American and Israeli forces. Withdraw from the capital, alternatively. Pulling reinforcements from Tehran to protect the border zones makes the seat of government vulnerable to internal popular revolt. This is a classic historical military strategy. Create a secondary front so demanding that the primary structure of the state eventually collapses under its own weight. However, a professional journalistic analysis requires us to explore the risks and the historical precedents that complicate this argument. History, particularly in Syria, shows that the U.S. has a track record of collaborating with Kurdish forces only to later withdraw support when political winds shift. There's also the dangerous specter of total national fragmentation. If an ethnic-based ground offensive is perceived as a foreign-backed dismantling of Iranian territory, it risks galvanizing the general public against the movement. Furthermore, if the Kurds succeed, it may trigger a domino effect among other oppressed or autonomous-seeking groups. The Arab population in the south might seek similar autonomy. The Baloch population in Sistan Baluchistan could rise. The Azeri population in the north, where the nation of Azerbaijan, led by Ilham Aliyev, has already signaled potential territorial interests, could seek to realign. We are looking at a potential civil war that could last well past 2026. This instability would not stay localized. It would impact global energy markets, international borders, and regional security for decades to come. History is rarely made in a vacuum. The potential Kurdish invasion of Iran is the direct result of long-standing cultural grievances, modern geopolitical rivalries, and a high-stakes gamble by global superpowers. Whether this leads to a liberated Kurdistan or a strategic misadventure depends entirely on whether the planners have correctly calculated the Iranian response. The impact on our daily lives, from the price of oil at the pump to the fundamental safety of international borders, is immense. As we watch these contemporary events unfold, it becomes clear that the ghosts of history are very much alive, driving the decisions of today's leaders. I am Chronicles, and this has been the Chronicles Reports. Stay informed, and we will see you in the next report.